Israel says fighting in Gaza will continue as long as Hamas militants are present. Flares and explosions over the Gaza skyline on Saturday night as full-scale fighting resumes. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said the assault would continue as long as Hamas militants are still present in the Palestinian enclave. Meanwhile, casualties of the fighting continue to arrive in the central Gaza Strip. The Hamas-run Ministry of Health said nearly 200 people have been killed since the truce expired on Friday. In Tel Aviv, former hostages released from Hamas captivity joined the families of those who are still being held in a protest calling for another ceasefire. But talks between Israel and Hamas have broken down, with Israel accusing Hamas of failing to honor an agreement to release all women and children. On Saturday, more than 100 trucks of aid entered Gaza through the Rafah crossing, despite initial efforts by Israel to ban their entry when the fighting resumed. A senior advisor to Netanyahu said Israel was making maximum effort to protect civilians. A German tourist was fatally stabbed in an attack near the Eiffel Tower in Paris late Saturday evening. The attacker injured 2 other people as well before being restrained by police. French officials say he shouted Allahu Akbar during the attack. The assailant is well known to law enforcement. According to the Minister of Interior, Gérald Darmanin, the 26-year-old French national served a jail term in 2016 for planning another attack and was being monitored because of serious psychiatric problems. The case is being treated as a terror attack.
50 oil companies, which are responsible for half the world's production, have pledged to reach near-zero methane emissions by 2030. But the headline-grabbing pledge that's come out of COP28 was dismissed as a smokescreen by environmental groups. If it happens, the pledge would trim about 1/10 of a degree Celsius from future warming, a prominent climate scientist told the Associated Press. Meanwhile, the EU pledged to invest €2.3 billion to move away from fossil fuels. And Ursula von der Leyen urged the world to switch to renewable energy.
We must roll out more renewables, and we must use less energy to produce the products and the services we need. And the world's cheapest energy source are renewables.
Also on Saturday, US climate envoy John Kerry joined French President Emmanuel Macron in pushing for more nuclear energy, which doesn't produce greenhouse gas emissions, even though accidents are potentially catastrophic. And a group of more than 20 nations called for a tripling of nuclear energy generated in the world by 2050. The southern Philippines was hit by a powerful earthquake with a preliminary magnitude of 7.6 on Saturday night. Many villagers fled their homes in panic around midnight after the authorities issued a tsunami warning. But there were no immediate reports of major damage or casualties, and no large waves hit the coast. In Japan, authorities issued evacuation orders for parts of Okinawa Prefecture, including the entire coastal area. Thousands of people were affected.
Former Ukrainian President Petro Poroshenko has accused Kyiv of jeopardizing Ukraine's defense after he was barred from leaving the country on Friday. But Ukraine's security services say Poroshenko is planning to meet Hungarian leader Viktor Orban, who Kyiv has dubbed a friend of Russian President Vladimir Putin, and said his visit could be used for Kremlin propaganda. Budapest called the move a political purge and said it was proof Ukraine is not yet ready to join the European Union. Meanwhile, the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant suffered a complete blackout overnight on Friday. The plant, which is still under Russian occupation, was cut off from the main power supply and had to kick in its own diesel generators. The head of the UN's nuclear watchdog, Rafael Grossi, said the incident is a reminder of the precarious safety situation at the plant, which can be affected by events far from the site itself.